I don't know if it's necessarily important to me. I don't know a lot about it. I don't engage with it as much. I'll do the minute of silence with my colleagues at work, but I'm gonna speak explicitly. I associate it with white people.
Hi, my name's Liam and I'm in Bristol and I'm asking people what's more important, Pride Month or Remembrance Day? Let's get to it. So what have you done to celebrate Pride Month?
Nothing so far.
And you?
Yeah, I'd probably say the same, yeah.
Nothing?
No.
And what have you done to celebrate Remembrance Day?
I do my 2 minutes of silence.
2 minutes silence?
Yeah.
I also did nothing.
Nothing? On Remembrance Day you did nothing?
Nothing on both.
Okay, and what do you think is like more important?
I think both are pretty important because you've got to remember the veterans that are given their lives, but also you've got to remember that people are going through hard times at the moment. So both.
I'd probably say Pride Month, to be fair. I mean, Remembrance Day obviously important, but in current sort of like times, I think Pride Month important to.
Do you think people walking around in like bondage gear is like anywhere equivalent to like 500,000 Brits giving up their life?
Obviously not, but obviously not. But no way is that equivalent. But how is that related though?
because they're not. Because one is one's right to dress how one wants, and the other is one giving their life up for the country. So
okay. I mean, you can't compare death with like wearing. You can't compare death with wearing clothing though, surely.
No, but what I'm comparing, that's not what I'm actually comparing. What I'm comparing is I'm gauging like Gen Z's importance of the two holidays and the significance of it. Because you're right, you can't compare like death to clothing, but you can compare like the cultural impact of each. Do you feel like Gen Z is kind of forgetting about World War II and it's becoming like a sort of like a past thing?
Okay, so yeah, that's not wrong. I mean, you're not wrong in maybe like remembering World War II and World War I, like it's like really important events. Like you're not wrong in that maybe they're losing a bit of their importance and a bit in their cultural cultural memory, whatever. But that doesn't then mean that we should start prioritising more than something like Pride Month, which is actually very culturally relevant currently. If that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't disagree with what you've just said. It's just, is Remembrance Sunday having less of an impact on people as time progresses? Yes, because we haven't been in a war in 10 years since Iraq. But in a world war, it's been 80 years. So whereas now, obviously Pride Month now is a very current issue. So.
Yeah, but what is the actual issue that?
I think the significance is right. It's normalisation. It's giving people the ability to be accepted in society.
Okay, so what did you do to celebrate Pride Month this year?
It's only just started. Yeah. So, what are we doing? We're going to.
I want to go to the South Bank. They have a. So it's POCs, all Asian, but South Asian, but it's going to be like a Pride celebration for South Asian people at the South Bank Centre in London. So we're going to that.
And we're going to Trans Pride in London, which is really important because I think they forget about trans people in Pride.
And Trans Pride is very much still a protest, unlike commercial Pride, which is just companies with floats. So Trans Pride.
And we're celebrating ourselves as well.
Because a lot of people in the older generations, they were more conservative. Like, what do you feel? What do you do to celebrate Remembrance Day?
You know what that is, right? Yeah. Sorry. I just because I never really like celebrating.
I'm so bad on camera right now.
No,
I don't care. Okay, I always wear a poppy, and we raise money at work. And also, they have like a purple poppy, which also I'm vegan, so it represents like animals that died in there. So I do that. Yeah, don't laugh. That's something that was really important to that generation, but we don't acknowledge
it's still
it.
Important
Maybe
to
we
us,
should.
But it's just like a.
More,
I don't know if it's necessarily important to me. I don't know a lot about it. I don't engage with it as much. I'll do the minute of silence with my colleagues at work, but I'm gonna speak explicitly. I associate it with white people.
And why is that?
Because they show it as a white people thing. If you look at people that are engaging with it, it's majority white middle class and working class people, because they see it as something to be proud of.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's necessarily true, because I see it as like death and destruction on a large scale rather than something to be said. Yeah, we should remember lives lost, but lives are lost every day. There's genocide, there's war every day. All the other countries, we don't care about them because they're POCs.
Yeah.
But we care because it's white people and we live in a white man's country, as my mum would say.
Are you ready?
Okay, so what did you do to celebrate Pride Month?
It's not happened yet, has it?
It's this month.
This month?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're celebrating it at work. We're doing like a quiz and that kind of thing, but I don't know what else, to be honest.
Yeah. What about you?
I haven't done anything yet so far to celebrate Pride Month.
Do you think it's really important that people celebrate Pride Month?
Yeah, definitely. I think for like acceptance, awareness, just like trying to promote equality and all of that, I think, yeah, definitely.
And what about you?
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely worth celebrating Pride Month because I was just going to say, it's the same as you said, just getting a feel for the culture, for the people, and obviously the differences and difficulties in which they face as well on a day-to-day basis.
So, what did you do to celebrate Remembrance Day?
Ooh, I think did the minute silence, and again we celebrated at work, like we did like stone poppies, like we decorated those and put them on the memorial statue. Yeah, that's it for me.
Yeah, well, for me it's just minute silence.
What do you think has more cultural value to you, like Gen Z or Remembrance Day? Like, what do you think people in your age bracket sort of care about more at the moment?
What, between like Pride or Remembrance Day? I think probably Pride, because I think it's more
in your face.
Yeah, and it's more like in the moment now. Like Remembrance Day is obviously important, but it's very much, that was a longer time ago, whereas like all of the movements for Pride is very current, so I think it's more meaningful right now, I would say.
Oh yeah, no, same. Obviously, as Pride's an ongoing thing at the moment, but there's a lot of traction within recent years that people's picked up, and they're starting to follow more about Pride. Whereas obviously Remembrance was something that more came up more in school. I found that obviously since school there isn't really much that's been spoken about it, whereas obviously the news, obviously a lot of news lately is covered Pride.
Yeah, and one last question. So do you think, like, with the Russia-Ukraine conflict, like, if Britain was in some way to get more involved, do you think that people would shift their mind a bit more towards, like, war more rather than, like, self-expression?
I think potentially. I think if the media had, like, a big focus on it, probably, because people do tend to follow the media a lot, like, they're massively swayed. So if there was a sudden, like, surge in that direction, people would probably follow it like sheep, to be honest, I think.
What did you do to celebrate Pride Month?
Nothing, to be honest.
Went to the pub. Yeah, that's about it really. I only kind of realised it was Pride Month yesterday, so it's I've heard about it, but it's not.
Heard about it.
I've heard about it, but I haven't celebrated it in any way. Yeah, that's about it really.
Okay, so what did you do to celebrate Remembrance Day?
I did a parade.
Yeah, I did a parade as well with a military set.
Yeah, we're both armed forces, so we did parades for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So do you think that Gen Z care more about, like, Pride Month than, like, sort of like Remembrance Day and, like, other conflicts?
In general, yeah. I think it's more Pride Month than anything to do with armed forces. I know, especially in Bristol, there's a big, like, Bristol against armed forces movement.
Anti-military,
Yeah, I agree with that. So a lot more towards Pride, and there's a lot more, like, people look down on the military more than anything because they don't want war, which is fair enough.
But I think with the armed forces, more than just war. And I think to celebrate Pride Month, the military's done a lot to have people's freedom in this country to actually be able to celebrate it in the first place.
Yeah. So do you think that British people are ashamed of, like, their military because of their, like, colonial past?
I can see why people would think that, but I think there's a lot more to it than just being ashamed of it.
Like what?
I think everyone just focuses on like one thing, instead of thinking of like the whole bigger picture of where it's all come from in the first place.
Yeah, because that's the like protecting like basically the whole world during World War II with the massive military is what allowed like everybody, like you said, to have their freedom.
Because we wouldn't be able to have Pride Month now if our armed forces didn't protect us then and continue to protect us now.
Yeah, it's true.
So I think there's two sides to the coin, and they both come hand in hand really.
Do you think it's dangerous that people in Britain like despise the military and any sort of military power, whereas other countries like Russia and China, like everybody's like very like nationalistic and they really care about their country and they're willing to fight for it?
I think some people don't realise the actual importance of the military, so they're a lot. I think it's because people don't know the whole meaning and like the whole purpose of the military, and if they actually knew like what we did, like all the humanitarian stuff, then they'd have a better idea on what they can get from it.
I think they look a lot more at the negatives than the positives, because they look at like the killing of people and not the saving of lives.